Yo, what's up, guys? So, Prize Picks just released CSGO lines for tomorrow. Same thing with Underdog Fantasy. So, you can see right here, I'll give you an example of a play I just locked in. These lines can move quickly. So, typically, the best time, like when sportsbooks first release odds for certain players, if their models are out of sync, that's when you're going to find the best plays, right? And again, like you don't have to know anything about esports. Imagine if an NFL total was at 38 on Prize Picks for a game, 38 points, and then on Underdog Fantasy, or, I'm just giving the example of Prize Picks and Underdog, but imagine DraftKings had some NFL game listed at 38 points, FanDuel was at 43 half. That's a huge discrepancy, right? This is a 5.5 point gap. So it's an absolutely massive discrepancy. So what you could do is you could take the under 41.5 points and the over 38. And then if, there's a 5.5 gap, so if the game had 39, 40, 41, 42, 43 points, you're going to win both bets. So again, this isn't, about esports. This isn't, about having to know anything about CSGO. This is just about taking advantage of inefficiencies in the market. So we'll find some plays in a second, but you can see here, like a lot of these plays I currently have going on Prize Picks and on Underdog Fantasy are esports plays. So this play was a middle as well, right? So you can see right here. So for this Ekas guy, we got him under 2.5. We can see what he is on Prize Picks. On Prize Picks, his line is 1.5. And again, these middles aren't going to win every single time, but it's enough to cover the juice, right, on the sports book. So if Sonny has 38, if he has exactly 38, then Prize Picks will be a push, right? We'll tie on Prize Picks. So our 5-leg, flex play on Prize Picks will become a 4-leg flex play. But Underdog Fantasy, of course, will win. And, if he has 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, we're going to win both bets. So middle betting, is great for these inefficient markets like esports because there's not a ton of sports books that post esports lines. And there's so many games, right? So you can see here, there's tons and tons of esports lines. So Underdog Fantasy is a little slow to load, but Prize Picks, Underdog, all you're doing is taking advantage of when their models, when they get out of sync with one another. So, you can scan for these discrepancies manually. You can pull up Prize Picks. You can go here, you can go to CSGO, and you can just kind of scan around the market, look for discrepancies between Prize Picks and Underdog. All OddsJam is doing is just that, right? There's no BS, nothing really complicated. All OddsJam is doing is scanning these markets and trying to point out big discrepancies to you. So what we can do is we can try to find some more plays on Underdog. So you can see here, for example, this player, his line is 33.5. On Underdog, Prize Picks is 3.5 points lower at 30. ParlayPlay, they're lower as well at 30 half. So if anything, there's only 3 sports books, Prize Picks, Underdog, ParlayPlay, that post, these CSGO lines. So you don't have a ton, it seems like Underdog is the side that is off. But again, there's not tons of different sports books. Like the great thing when you're, in general is if you're looking for a play, like this play is recommended on Underdog Fantasy, Joey Weimer, over half of a hit, is you can see there's tons of sports books that have MLB player prop odds. There aren't even games today. This game is still 28 hours away. And you can see there are lots of sports books that already have lines out. So this is FanDuel Ontario. I guess they have slightly different lines from one another. But you can see there's tons of different books, right? So you should have higher confidence that the play's good, right? Because there's tons of data points and this play looks good to all of them. So this play, on Underdog Fantasy seems good. But on the other hand, for esports, you only have a few different data points. It's Prize Picks, it's Underdog Fantasy, and it's ParlayPlay. So there's only 3 books. So it seems like Underdog Fantasy is the side that's off. So maybe you just want to take the under on Underdog, or you can work into a middle, right? Like Underdog Fantasy is 3.5 points higher than Prize Picks. So we know there's a big discrepancy. They're 3 points higher than ParlayPlay. So it's kind of like, okay, Underdog Fantasy seems like the one that is screwing up here. So the sharp play, the sharp pick would be betting on the under, but you kind of get the point. So what we can do is we can refresh this. I'll see if there's any questions. What's up? What's up, guys? Hot Streak, I think, is on the optimizer. I'm just not sure if they have lines out. But what's nice about Hot Streak is they have hourly odds boosts. I've explained this on Twitter, but it's kind of cool. Every single hour, they're running different odds boosts. So I can actually just pull up Hot Streak and we can take a look at Hot Streak. Vivid Picks also has CSGO. So I don't know much about Vivid Picks, but maybe I got to look into it. So let me share my screen again, and then we can check out Hot Streak. So it looks like a lot of books are already dropping MLB lines for tomorrow. So they have an 100, they have a better deposit bonus than most sports books. It's 100% up to $200. So you put in 200, they give you 200 for free, which is obviously a free $200 for signing up for a sports book. Not bad. Of course, you have to bet the $200 once you sign up that they give you for free. But again, you can do this in a low risk way like middle betting. So what we can do is we can pull up this player on Derek Hall. So you can see right here, maybe this is an odds boost. And it is, right? They're literally telling you the play is positive EV. So they run only a few of these every hour. So they're kind of hard to find. Like it's because it's typically like some random player prop. I don't think this is a popular player, Derek Hall, but you can see they're improving the odds, by a lot. So OddsJam picked it up and is recommending this play. So it's pretty simple. What you can do is just take this and then maybe pair it with another positive EV bet. So we can go to Joey Votto bases. So we want to take his over, and then we want to go to Joey Votto. So you can see it's sold out. So I think only a certain number of people can bet it, but we can reload this before we hit so this play looks really good, right? Owen Miller, this play actually looks better. On Hot Streak, they're giving him to you at minus 101 odds. So you can see right here, 1.98. So this is a little confusing because they're not showing you American odds. Like they're not showing you minus 101. They list everything in decimal odds. I'm not sure why that is, but they do. But you can see 1.98. You can just convert odds converter calculator, decimal odds to American odds means minus 102. So it's minus 102 on Hot Streak. DraftKings has this minus 145. Caesars minus 152. So they have this guy a lot more likely to get a hit. So that play, seems pretty good. So then we can see, can I pair something? Unfortunately, they're only $10 max bet size, and you can't pair numerous, EV picks together. Sometimes they have numerous odds boosts going on at the same time. So what I can do is just be like, okay, what about this guy, Jose Trevino, to get a double? So I'm not going to be able to include any of these. But again, this plays 10% profitable, right? It's an insanely good odds boost. You're literally getting like plus 100 odds, minus 102, when other sports books have it like minus 150. So what you can do, because you want to take these odds boosts every hour. Anyways, I'm spending way too much time on Hot Streak. But what you can do is you can just pair it with something that's even a little bad. And I know that seems, unintuitive, but this play is 10% profitable. On Hot Streak, you need at least two bets, right? So I can't just bet. If I go here, it says right here, right? You need at least two players from two different teams, kind of like Prize Picks. You can't just place one play. You need at least two picks. That's the way these fantasy sites work. But what you could do is just pair it with something that's negative 2% EV. This one's positive 10%. This one's negative 2%. So the combined entry is going to be still 8% positive EV. So obviously it's not ideal. I'm literally recommending placing a bad bet, but you kind of get the point. So I'll place this because you'd rather have a 2-pick entry that's 8% EV. Of course, it would be better if there were more lines available on Hot Streak and there were some really good plays, but there's not, right? At least right now, in an easy to find way. And they run these odds boosts. It's a new boost every hour. So you'll see in, 12 minutes, 11 minutes, when it gets to 1 p.m. Pacific time, they'll change the odds boosts, and then you can go and you can bet it for $10. Anyways, let's go back to Underdog Fantasy and look for some middles. So what we can do is we can just filter for maybe CSGO and take a look. So let's get rid of MLB. League of Legends, whatever we can keep in, but we can take a look at CSGO because that seems to be where the real value is. So this keto guy, again, like imagine Luka's line is 30 on Prize Picks, 33.5. Like a lot of people zone in on the sport. It's the exact same thing, right? If Luka's line was 30 on Prize Picks, 33.5, pretty big discrepancy between the two sports books. Take the under, take the over. If Luka has 30, 31, 32, 33 points, you win both bets. So what we can do is we can start loading it up. So let's go back here, and you can see I already have keto headshots. Underdog had his line. Where did they have his line? They had his line at 21.5, right? And again, you're not going to hit these middles. It's not going to like end up in the exact spot every time, but all you need is enough value to cover the vig, cover the juice, whatever. And like 3.5 points is a lot. If you ever see that for an NFL total, you just won't see, you won't see it for an NFL total. The markets are too efficient, but what's great about esports is, again, first of all, there's so many games, right? So we want to take the over here. We want to take the under here. And again, this is something you can do manually too. You don't need a product. It doesn't matter what sport you're betting on. You could look at this for KBO, anything like that, right? These sports books, they charge a little tax called the VIG, the juice, whatever you want to call it. So you're just looking for big enough discrepancies where it's justified to place the bet. So 3.5 points is a lot, right? That's like a 10% difference. That's a really big difference. So what we can do is we can go back here, and then let me see if anyone has questions. I haven't seen the sleeper promo yet, but I'll take a look here in a sec. So what we can do is I have the under, I have the over. Let's go back. Todd's jamming. Let's try to get a play down because these lines can move quickly. Again, like when is this game? This game is at 9:30 a.m. on a Friday, so thrilling. You know, if you don't like your job, maybe you got something to watch. But what was I gonna say? Is you'll notice, like if you check these lines, let's say at 8 a.m., you'll notice these sports books will, either Underdog Fantasy is going to move, Prize Picks is going to move, but like you can't have 3-point gaps in the market, right? This is just a market inefficiency that we're taking advantage of. So I'm not taking an opinion on, do I think, K1TO is more likely to go under or over, right? You're just extracting value in the market. So we have one play, and then you can see this artist guy. His line is 39.5 on Underdog. ParlayPlay, 3 points lower, 36.5. Prize Picks, 2.5 points lower. So once again, it seems like Underdog Fantasy is the side that's messed up, but there's not a ton of data points. So, you're kind of stuck with. So we want to take his over, and they're on different teams, so there's no correlation, like something, nope. And see, they locked it. So you got to move kind of quickly. I'm talking way too much. So let's load this up. So we have one. And then did they move this? They moved it. So I got to reload, and we'll see what's out there. And again, some of the best discrepancies have already gone away. Like that's just kind of how it is. I'm sure I missed some of them. I'm sure I didn't see CSGO lines the second they dropped. So there's probably some people out there who got even better plays than I did, but you can see 36 here, 31.5 here, like huge discrepancies. Now there's not even any 4.5 point middles, but still there's some good value out there. So what we can do is we can go back here. So did this middle hit? So it doesn't look like this middle hit, but whatever. We'll hit a big middle one day where we win both bets. So what we can do is we can go back here and we can reload this. So you can see it's still recommending this play on Sunny under 41. So it looks like Underdog Fantasy brought back his line. It's at 41. So this is a play I previously locked in at 43.5. So you can see the middle is progressively getting worse. The sports books are starting to condense, right? The market is very inefficient for esports. So many games, so many players, and it's such a random sport. So, Prize Picks I'm sure they've invested millions of dollars into their esports model. Same thing with Underdog Fantasy, but they're not perfect, right? These companies only have hundreds of employees. Like at the end of the day, they can't keep everything in check at all times because they have so many lines available. So Anyways, so I'm not going to be able to take this play on Sonny. I already bet it, but if you want to bet it, bet it. So it seems like in general, Underdog Fantasy is just higher than the rest of the market on a lot of these plays. So their model, their line setting, whatever, is clearly spitting out lines that are higher than Prize Picks and Underdog Fantasy. So what we can do is we can load up this, and I'm going to have to get rid of this play on Artist. So we want to take him over. So I don't think on Prize Picks they're going to let me bet players from the same team. Maybe they will, but I don't think I'm going to be able to include this play either because they're from, you can see, please select multiple teams. So what we can do is we can go here and we can load up another play. Sunny Headshot. So this play I will be able to do. Well, no, I won't. Never mind. Underdog Fantasy is 250 max bet size per eSports player. So I already hit this for 250, so I'm not going to be able to bet it. But long story short, you get the point. If you want to add Sunny Headshots or kills into your entry, those seem like pretty good plays. So next up, we have Phi 1 Ku. So we want to take his under here, and then we want to take his over here. And I still don't think but all these players are playing in the same game. So it looks like there's a lot of discrepancies. Sometimes you'll notice that there's specific games where maybe, sports books, I'm not really sure what the word would be, where sports books, have less certainty on who's going to be playing. I don't know. But clearly this specific game, OG versus FaZe, has a lot of discrepancies, which we can take advantage of. So I'll reload this. And we have this play on Keto. We can't play Nexa. All these players are on the same team. Here, finally, there's value on the over on Underdog Fantasy on this guy. So I'm trying to just create a pick pretty quickly. I also have ParlayPlay pulled up. So there may be more value on ParlayPlay. We can actually just take a look. If we go over to ParlayPlay, can see if we like this better. So some NBA line discrepancies for Summer League. So here, for example, Ryko, his line's 40.5 on ParlayPlay, 43 on Underdog, 42 on Prize Picks. So there's in general just some big discrepancies in the market. Again, esports compared to NFL, you'll see a lot bigger discrepancies, which is why it's a really good sport to middle bet. So again, here in this case, I guess it seems like ParlayPlay is actually a little too low because they're 1.5 points below Prize Picks and they're 2.5 points below Underdog. So we could middle this, we could do anything. So what we can do is we can load up Ryko. So this is a different game. So I'm going to be able to take the under here, and then let's go back to ParlayPlay, and we can go here. We want to hit his over. And then on Underdog, we want to take his under. Perfect. Just want to make sure I don't fat finger it. So, okay. We have Ryko, play number 1. Good stuff. So let's zone in on CSGO League of Legends for now. Let's see what's out there. So Ryko seems too low, 40.5, 42, 43 on Underdog Fantasy. And then we have Nesty. So his line's 35.5. Underdog has him at 34. Let's go back here. Okay. So what do we want to take? So this middle seems good. It's 2.5 points between ParlayPlay and Underdog. So we want to take Morella's over, and then we want to take his under on ParlayPlay. So that's good. Neither of these games are the same. So, okay. So now we have 1 over, 1 under on Underdog Fantasy. Same thing for ParlayPlay. And on Underdog Fantasy, 3-pick entries are optimal. Not optimal, but it's 3-pick or 5-pick. In general, it's easier, to find 3 good bets as opposed to 5. So you can take a 3-pick on Underdog Fantasy. So we just need 1 more. And maybe this is a play we want to go with. Artiste. I don't think I already hit him on Underdog Fantasy, but we can take a look. No, I did already bet him. Nope, I didn't already bet him. Okay, perfect. So we want to take his under, and they're playing in the same game, so I don't think we're actually going to be able to bet it. And then we have headshots between Prize Picks and Underdog. And this play looks better between Underdog and Prize Picks as opposed to Underdog and ParlayPlay. So we want one more pick. What can we go with? So Sonny, I'm not going to be able to bet again. Nexa, what was the deal with Nexa? I already bet him. Nope, I didn't already bet Nexa, so I can take this play. I want to take his over on Underdog. 3 different games, perfect. So we're going to be able to play it on both platforms. And then we can take his over here. Perfect. So that's a 2-point discrepancy. No, that's a bigger discrepancy. What am I saying? That's a 2.5-point discrepancy. So we want to take the under here, the over here. Perfect. And over, under, over. So now we have our 3 picks on Underdog Fantasy. So I'm going to lock this in. But on ParlayPlay, you don't want to play 3-pick entries. So you're going to see they're only giving you a 5x payout for 3-pick entries. Underdog gives you 6x. So these things are important, but on ParlayPlay, you ideally want to play 6-pick entries with insurance or 5-pick entries with insurance. But you can see they're kind of screwing you, only giving you a 5x payout versus Underdog Fantasy that gives you 6x, which is why. So I'm going to lock in this in a second. On ParlayPlay, they in general have really good payouts, but they don't for these. So we could also include this play on Joey Weimer if we want to. So we can include this, and 4 picks on Underdog Fantasy are the same payout structure as 3 picks in terms of the math if you take it with insurance. So on Underdog Fantasy, you want to go 3 picks, no insurance, 5 picks with or without insurance, 4 picks with insurance. It all works out to be the same implied odds, minus 122. So you can see Underdog Fantasy, their VIG is minus 122. That's the juice they're baking into their lines. So we can go here, and we can take Rodon. So this is kind of a middle, but not completely a middle. So I'm going to take his over. And then on Underdog Fantasy, I have a 4-pick entry with insurance that I'm going to lock in. So this play is just from the positive EV tool, right? On Underdog Fantasy, again, the general strategy is this is a platform where your payout doesn't change based on you selecting over versus under. You can see I switch it over to under, over to under, over to under. Our payout doesn't change. So what you want to do is just look for spots where sports books have one side heavily favored. So you can see here, Bet Online, really sharp book. All the sports books, right? FanDuel has this minus 220. All the books have is over heavily favored. So all the sports books, which again, have better data feeds than you. They have access to betting volume. They're always moving around lines due to supply and demand, stuff like that. They have is over heavily favored, every single one. And in this case, there's tons of data points. This isn't like eSports where there's only a few sports. Every single sports book has Joey Weimer heavily favored to go over. The average line is minus 144. So the sports books are telling you, hey, this guy's a lot more likely to go over as opposed to under. So on Underdog Fantasy, which is a platform, again, that doesn't change your payout. Please don't tell me my screen froze. There we go. So for Underdog Fantasy, a platform where they don't change your payout based on you selecting over versus under, you know, this middle betting strategy is great, but this is kind of a strategy for just like finding profitable plays. So you can pair them together, who cares, with your middle. And I'll put together this 4-pick with insurance entry that I'm going to go ahead and lock in. And there we go. Perfect. So if anyone wants to tail it, there it is. Well, looks like I got to reload this. And hopefully the rest, some of these plays, the middle actually hits. Looks like we have some good ones going on. So you can see here, 4-pick entry with insurance on Underdog Fantasy. And I know it's a little confusing if you haven't used these platforms a lot, just like how many picks should you be going with per entry. So this article I just shared, it just kind of breaks down for each platform how many picks is optimal. I would say this, it depends on the sport. I miss NBA for real. Yo, that's great. Huh. I do need to travel with a monitor. Slip that you built yesterday on live stream for Prize Picks just cashed. There we go. So that hit, which is great. But regardless, 4 picks here. We still need a couple plays or we need one more on ParlayPlay. 5 pick entries are very similar to 6 pick. It's only like minus 113 versus minus 114 when you run through, kind of how their payouts work. So we need one more pick. So what we can go with is we can go back here and we can see if there's anything else available. So this play I already took. So I'm not going to be able to go with that. So let's go back to the fantasy optimizer for ParlayPlay and see if there's any good line discrepancies. So here in League of Legends, double lift, his line is 2.5 on ParlayPlay. It's 3 on Underdog Fantasy. So that's a really big discrepancy, right? Imagine, again, 25 versus 30 in terms of percentage, 2.5 versus 3. It's like an NBA player, 25 versus 30. It's like you'll never see on Prize Picks and Underdog Fantasy a lot of discrepancies. And for example, like if we go to MLB, you're not going to see a lot of discrepancies in where they're setting their total bases line. 1.5. Like you're never going to see Prize Picks has Manny Machado's line at 2.5 total bases. You won't find discrepancies this big, which is why eSports is great. And it, hopefully is a sport. If you use Prize Picks, you've been able to make some money on, or if not, hopefully soon you start to make money on it. So what we can do is we can look for one last play. So there's some NBA Summer League, but again, so we have Dean Kremer. His line is 4.5 on all the sports books. It's 4.5 on Prize Picks. So maybe some value there, but let's just see what's out there in the market. So we could take this. What do we want? What do we want? So here you can see it does seem like ParlayPlay is a little off from other sports books. And by that, I mean okay, here, Staher, his line's 36.5 on ParlayPlay. On Underdog, it's 2 full points lower. Prize Picks is right smack in the middle at 35.5. So we don't really know who's right and wrong. Probably Prize Picks is right. And if you check tomorrow right before game time, ParlayPlay will have come down a full point to 35.5. Prize Picks is the biggest platform, so they probably take the most betting volume. They have the best, models. They have more resources to pour into it. So Prize Picks probably right smack in the middle. Tomorrow, if you check, maybe Underdog's at 35.5, and same thing with Prize Picks. Like you'll notice yesterday, I think we did a live stream. There were tons of League of Legends line discrepancies. At this point, they've all gone away, right? Like there's only 2 line discrepancies right now. So it's best to get on these things early. Like you're literally in a war with the sports books, trying to find good plays before obviously they do. So we can see what else seems decent. We need one more pick. We need one more pick. So maybe we do just go with the Dean Kremer play. Prize Picks has his line lower at 4.5. The sports books are at 4.5. So maybe we add this in. And we want to take his under. And that will be a 5-pick entry on ParlayPlay. So under 5. And then we want to go with insurance. So minus 114 implied odds. So they only have a max bet size. The annoying thing about ParlayPlay is for 5-pick entries, they only have a max bet size of $100. And then I think 6-pick entries, if I'm not wrong, you can try to put in any number, but it just changes it to 60. So if you try to put in 500, it changes it to 60. So long story short, I'll take it for the max I can, $100. Under. Okay. And we got a decent play. Perfect. So 5 picks I just locked in on ParlayPlay. This was from the Positive EV tool. 3 of these plays are just middles with Underdog Fantasy. So we have 1, 2, 3 middles, capitalizing on some early CSGO line discrepancies. And then I threw in, this pick on Joey Weimer just from the Positive EV tool. And again, like, you don't have to know anything about baseball. A lot of people are shocked, but it's just, at least personally how I bet. I care way more about the data because, again, these sports books have a lot of resources. They have really complex models. Some people will be like, oh, I think I can create a better model than Caesars. And it's like, this is $1 billion company with hundreds of employees, engineers, better data feeds, more money. It's really hard to just create your own stuff to beat the sports books. So the easiest way is all these books want to set lines independently. They all work in slightly different ways. So it's just like understanding how they work and then identifying inefficiencies in the market, which I would say is very similar. The reason a lot of odds jam, people work in the financial industry or are traders is, let me just share my screen again, is it's like, there's a lot of overlap with like financial markets. Facebook is worth $313.41. That's, the equilibrium of supply and demand is $313.41. You don't have to know anything about Facebook. If your friend was like, yo, I'll give you my Facebook stock for $200, the market is the opinions of everyone. Anyone can buy and sell Facebook. Every hedge fund, trading firm, every rich person, if they thought Facebook were undervalued, they could buy Facebook, and that would make, it's the price is based on supply and demand. And this is the price where it's currently equal, right? Supply and demand is equal trading in the market. So a lot of smart people are looking at Facebook stock every single day. A lot of people are buying and selling it when they think it's too low, too high. So the market consensus is $313.41. That's fair value. So if your friend would give it to you for $200, that'd be a no-brainer, right? You could also just go to the market and sell it for $313. So it's kind of the same thing here, right? Like, even if, if let's say everyone actually thought Joey Weimer's under should be favored, all the sharp bettors with their models, well, they'd hit the under. Sportsbooks move around lines due to supply and demand. Just like if every smart person in the world, every hedge fund just started gobbling up Facebook, they thought it was undervalued, the price goes up, and then it reflects that higher value. Like Facebook stock is up today, 1.32%. New information in the market, people wanted to buy it, now it's higher. So it's kind of the same thing here. Like, if his under should be favored, if his under should be the favored outcome, all the sharp bettors would have hit the under and the under would be favored, but the over is favored, right? So, like, what you're essentially doing is just like thinking logically to kind of identify profitable plays on Prize Picks, on Underdog, stuff like that. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 of these are just middle bets. Again, like, I'm not even taking an opinion on eSports. It's not about eSports. We have Ryko under 40.5, and we have him. Did I take the wrong side? No, over 40.5 and under 43. Like, that's a 2.5 point gap. You won't see that in an NFL total. You're only going to see it in eSports, these random sports that have tons of different games, and the markets are pretty inefficient. The sports books, don't have their lines under a microscope. So if you can find these inefficiencies before sports books can, you're going to have success. So what we can do is we can reload this, see if there's any other plays. Anyways, doesn't seem like there's a ton of other value. Hopefully, the video was helpful. Any questions you have as well, anyone can feel free to reach out to me. I'll try to get on these live streams quicker when I see a profitable play. I feel like live streaming is the best way because, lines don't move, or everyone can hit the bet at the same time. Whereas on Twitter or something like that, it's like the sports books can move their lines at any time. So if you see it 5 minutes late, you're not going to be able to tail it some of the time if it's a really good play. But anyways, I think I'll call it a day for now. Come back on later if there's more plays. You can see there's some line discrepancies in the NBA Summer League. Brandon Miller, 17.5 on ParlayPlay, 18.5 on Prize Picks. So just kind of day trading the sports books. Pretty fun. Anyways, see you guys soon.